You have the Z-rods, which are reinforced, so they're a bit thicker.
It uses thicker 10mm linear rods on the Z-axis.
The thicker Z-rails.
Wi-Fi system built in.
Wi-Fi and an Ethernet port on the back.
To Wi-Fi module.
$11.99 for the assembled Mark IV.
$1,100 plus $140 for shipping and a $52 import tax.
$1,139.
You're still using printed parts for pretty much everything around the printer.
Even on production printers, they print a whole bunch of components. Definitely been a fan of Prusa in the past.
Like most Prusa fans, I placed my order right away. It is a Prusa, and I was still willing to pay this price to experience their new model.
Well, here's an origin story for you. Back in 2017, I wanted to learn how to build a 3D printer. So I bought a Prusa I-3. Now I know the Prusa I-3 is designed developed off Joseph Purza's idea from the original RipRap project. But the license was released as an open source product, so then companies could use that open source license to sell their own commercial kit. So in short, there could be many variants of the Prusa, and I know I'm a proud owner of the i3, and you know what? I can't say I ever liked it. It was cheap, it broke, and I just knew I was going to have to fix this and upgrade it myself. Starting with the motherboard, I chose the Big Tree Tech SKR Pro Volume 3. The 32-bit board has 6 motor controls, 3 outputs for fans, 3 heaters, and touchscreen connection, Wi-Fi, the whole 9 yards. But the coolest thing that you're probably wanting to do is the 2-stepper driver control for the Z-axis. That way you don't have to take up another pin to control the motor or rewire it. The Big Tree Tech TFT35V3 touchscreen is full color, pretty large, and you can switch the old knob control, but come on, why would you do that? The TMC 2208 stepper drivers are pretty silent, and I show how they're hooked up to this board in the overheating the stepper driver video on my channel, so go check that out, but not now. I replaced the print bed heater with this 12-volt option. I liked it better than the other ones I was using because I didn't have to solder the input wires to the board. The sensor did not need to be soldered to the center of the board either. All the connections go through the terminal from the 4 pins on the wire, and you separate the sensor and the 2 heaters. The power supplies are pretty standard, 12 or 24 volts. I picked the 12-volt heater to match the heater of the extruder and the print bed. So in episode 7, I explained why I like the Big Tree Tech 3-in-1-out extruder. So go check that out. I know, another callback. But this time I wanted to show you how you can even turn an unoriginal, boring Prusa i3 that's outdated, old, cheap, into a 3D printer that is actually a custom printer and can print 3 colors with this extruder. So I present putting a 3-in-1 extruder on a Prusa i3. So the first thing you gotta do is you gotta order the Big Tree Tech 3-in-1-out extruder. They package it very well, everything you need to install it, all the tools, all the screws, all the nuts and bolts, everything you need is in this box. They provide the 5-volt fan, which is a 2-pin fan. We'll most likely have to extend the wires for the fan. They provide the 4 mounting screws for the fan, which is M3 in size. The hot end heater and the sensor probe are wrapped together. They are the 2 probes as shown, which will slide into the heater block. They provide additional Teflon tubing, which will connect to your Bowden extruder mounts. The hot end and the all-metal chamber is packaged as shown. They provided the rubber thermal protector on the hot end, which is an extra bonus. There is this C bracket which goes on the neck of the extruder, and I ended up using this to provide more support for my extruder when I was mounting it onto the mount itself. There's just 2 screws that will tighten up against it, and there's 2 screws in the back. You're going to take the temperature sensor probe and the heater probe and you're going to slide these into the hot end. There are 2 corresponding holes. There are 2 screws on the side that you're going to have to adjust, and then you're going to have to tighten to keep these guys in place. One is for the heater and one is for the thermistor. After you get the heater and the sensor in place, you're going to install the cooling fan. The cooling fan will sit on the machine slot on the fins. There are 4 screws that are going to keep this guy in place. They tapped in between the fins where the screw will go into, so it's pretty easy to know where they need to go. So, how did the installation of the extruder go? Let's just say things don't always go as planned, and it might have required a more radical solution than I thought.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
So our extruder actually sits lower than the older extruder we were using on this printer. So the bed screws, when we were bringing down the bed, actually will collide with the frame of the printer. So we had to take a little bit out of the frame to create a deeper slot for these screws to slide through. So we brought out the drill, the hacksaw, and we got to work. Here at Imprint Manufacturing, we choose to be different. And I blame the Prusa for its faults and all its shortcomings? Of course. And you learn from a Prusa printer? Yeah, I did. But I chose to create something original that can now be truly called the original Prusa I-3. Not that unoriginal, overpriced pile of crap they're passing off online that's a 3D printer. Thank you all for watching this video. If you like what we do here, please subscribe to our channel, give us a like on the video, and check out our links which are listed in the description below. I hope your prints turn out awesome. Rock on. Have a good day.